My chief of staff, Leo McGarry, insists on working on the Sabbath. Am I morally obligated to kill him myself, or is it okay to call the police?
Hey, honey, how was judging at the city gates today? Oh, we put Larry to death today. Why? What happened? He was working on the Sabbath again. He claims it's for national security, but we all know it's that intern at the White House. Hey everybody, Zach again, newstorah.com, coming in making a video for you today. We're going to continue on with our series looking at President Bartlet's dialogue or diatribe on the Bible and just how ridiculous it is. We started off with the one video. This is now the second video. There'll probably be a few more videos going over all of the things that he talks about because each one of these needs to be somewhat addressed in turn. But let's go ahead. We're going to replay the last clip and then continue on now into the next part of this entire segment. So here we go.
I like how you call homosexuality an abomination.
I don't say homosexuality is an abomination, Mr. President. The Bible does.
Yes, it does. Leviticus
18:22.
chapter and verse. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions while I had you here. I'm interested in selling my youngest daughter into slavery as sanctioned in Exodus 21:7. She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be? Well,
all right, stop for a second. That look right there. You saw that look of smugness. That woman's giving a look back to the other woman at like, aha, you're beat. You might as well just give up now. If you don't know, this is the late 90s when this show comes out, and you had, I'm assuming that the woman in the green is trying to portray the part of what would be a Phyllis Schlafly. If you don't know who that is, you should look her up. A Phyllis Schlafly or a Dr. Laura Schlesinger. This is a woman who has a radio show and she's conservative, and Laura Schlesinger and Phyllis Schlafly were the big ones back in the day who espoused to more of a traditional conservative biblical way of thinking. And that's who I'm assuming and sure that this show is here going after. But the look of smugness did not escape me here because she thinks, oh, the president's got this woman right where he wants her. Let's continue.
Thinking about that, can I ask another? My chief of staff, Leo McGarry, insists on working on the Sabbath. Exodus 35:2 clearly says he should be put to death. Am I morally obligated to kill him myself, or is it okay to call the police?
So keep in mind, this entire segment is being used to convey the idea to the audience that the Bible is ridiculous. That's very, very important. This is about hating the Bible, pure and simple. And people will say, but Zach, President Bartlet, he was a devout Roman Catholic. Okay, but let's keep in mind, this is coming off the heels of the Clinton presidency. Clinton still has one more year to serve, and the Monica Lewinsky scandal is going full swing at this point. He, Bill Clinton, is supposedly a devout Southern Baptist. Let's be honest here, no one in DC is keeping the Bible or taking the Bible seriously at this point. But let's read the verse that he quotes. Exodus 35:2, 6 days shall work be done, but on the seventh day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever does work therein shall be put to death. Man, Zach, that seems really kind of harsh. I mean, you go to work and then you end up being stoned, or you're just dead. That's just not keeping up with the times. More rational thinking people probably wouldn't do that, Zach. Okay, let's keep in mind something that we used to have a seriousness when it came to tradition and loyalty in this country and in history. Let me just go ahead and make my point to you, but let's read a couple more verses first and explain how important this Sabbath is. Exodus 31:16, 31 comes before 35, by the way. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven, the earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. It's a sign forever. Same chapter, a few verses before. Speak you unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths you shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord who does sanctify you. Means setting you apart. I'm setting you apart from everyone else on earth by giving you this sign that you must keep. It is a sign of the covenant. Which, by the way, those of you out there in the audience who are going to all of a sudden say, well, you know, the Messiah now, he is our sign of the covenant. And it's interesting that he calls himself the Lord of the Sabbath, the Lord of the sign. That's perpetual, forever, throughout all your generations. Complete coincidence, I'm sure. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not know who this is, but this is Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, and they were convicted of espionage against the United States. They were selling secrets to the Soviet Union when it came to American radar, sonar, jet propulsion engines, and nuclear weapon designs. They were selling secrets to the Soviet Union, our enemy. Now, when you, as an American, take an oath, a pledge of allegiance to a flag, or an oath to the U.S. Constitution, depending on what your job may be, if you're in the military or if you're serving somewhere in government, and you're found out to be selling secrets, military or otherwise, to our enemies, we used to have a tradition, an honor and shame tradition, that would require death for someone who was caught doing that. It's the same thing. The Father sees the sign, the Sabbath, as the sign of a covenant, an agreement that you have entered into willingly by saying, yes, all you have said we will do. And you agree into that covenant, just like you would agree of serving in the military. You agree to an oath to the U.S. Constitution, loyalty to the Constitution, and when you're found to disobey that oath or break that oath outright, the penalty has been death. Now, today, we think that is more barbaric. We haven't done it lately, but throughout American history, it has been done, and especially in other countries, it has been done. All throughout history, it has been done. And let's not imagine that it's some kind of ginormous achievement to not break the Sabbath. It's not that hard. You read the Bible, what does it require? Don't work, don't make anybody else work, and rest. It's that simple. It's not like it's some monumental task that's going to take all the effort in the world and you might perhaps somehow achieve this greatness of not breaking the Sabbath. It's not that hard. It's easy. It's like he gives you something so easy. He says, hey, this is the sign. This is the sign you will keep. And yet, it says even in the 10 Commandments, it says remember, and it's the one we forget.
Am I morally obligated to kill him myself, or is it okay to call the police?
He's making a joke here. He's trying to, again, show the ridiculousness of the Bible and its commandments. You know, do I call the police or can I kill him myself? If a matter of national security comes up, I don't think that's going to be a problem. If your chief of staff, Larry, is going in and he's working because there's something important that needs to be addressed on the Sabbath, a matter of national security, I think that would be fine. I mean, you had to address things. The Bible even talks about this. If someone's animal falls into the ditch, you should help rescue that animal, even if it's on the Sabbath. There was actually a protocol for this. If someone was found to be doing something that was egregious and that needed to be addressed, you had a process of bringing that person before the judges, and they would decide. Okay, let's take a look. Deuteronomy 16:18. Judges and officers shall you make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God gives thee, throughout your tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. So no, Mr. President, you don't have to stone your chief of staff. If he's caught breaking the Sabbath, you would probably bring him to the judges, or at least notify the judges or the Levites who were the police, if you didn't know. Romans 13 thinks that's about pastors or politicians. Actually, Romans 13 is about the Levites. They are the ministers of God. They wear the sword, and they are worthy of tribute. All things that are for the Levites. They were your police. You would notify the Levites, and they would bring them before the judges, and a sound judgment would be made. And that's how you would do that. You don't get to stone Larry yourself. Interesting note. The Proverbs 31 woman is the wife of a man who is a judge who sits at the city gates. Hey, honey, how was judging at the city gates today? Oh, we put Larry to death today. Why? What happened? He was working on the Sabbath again. He claims it's for national security, but we all know it's that intern at the White House. But what do you think? Leave your comments below. Maybe the president is right and the Bible is ridiculous and not for these times at all. Very archaic. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can hit that like button before you go. I really appreciate that. That allows YouTube to know that people watch and enjoy my channel. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and do that before you leave too. I really appreciate it. All right, go home. Read your Bible. Thanks.